My name's Shayna, I'm 23 years old, and today I wanted to talk about my journey with lupus and more importantly everything that I've been doing to help myself and with my symptoms and avoiding flare-ups, as I'm feeling so good right now and I just feel like I have information that could potentially help other people. So yeah, so that's the reason for making this channel. So first, today I just want to give kind of a recap about my lupus. I say a recap, but I have so much to say, so I actually don't know how long this video is going to last. But I've decided to dedicate, this video to like literally just covering everything that's happened the past 2 years with me since being diagnosed. So firstly, what is lupus? Lupus is a chronic autoimmune disease in which the body's immune system becomes hyperactive and attacks normal healthy tissue. And so essentially the immune system, the body's natural defence system, cannot differentiate between healthy tissue and bacteria and viruses. And this results in so many symptoms, such as extreme fatigue, hair loss, inflammation, swelling and damage to the joints, which results in arthritis, damage to the kidneys, blood, brain, liver, internal organs. And symptoms can range from mild to severe, and we are told that the disease is lifelong and incurable, but that it can be managed through medication. And the cause of lupus is actually said to be unknown. However, environmental factors which are said to be possible triggers include extreme stress, exposure to ultraviolet light, smoking, some medications and antibiotics, infections and so on. However, if we move away from what we are told traditionally by doctors, there is a lot of other research out there that suggests our lupus could possibly be caused by parasites in us, an unhealthy gut. There's a lot about gut health on it, an unhealthy colon, diet, a lack of oxygen in the body, and yeah, so many contradicting theories to what we are actually told by doctors, but I'll go into that another time. And the thing with SLE, so systemic lupus erythematosus, that's when it's internal. When the lupus is internal, you can look well, but you can be suffering on the inside, so it's hard to tell how you feel, and it's often referred to as an invisible illness. And with the fatigue as well that I spoke about, it's not just like being tired normally, it's like you're experiencing this 24/7, and it's like to the point where it's difficult, not only physically but mentally, to get out of bed. And you have a good day here and there, or you can wake up maybe okay in the morning, but you'll crash eventually in the day, like around 2 or 3 in the afternoon. I know I do anyway, I'll need an afternoon nap. So yeah, it's one of my worst symptoms, I absolutely can't stand it. So now I'm going to get on to explaining my journey with lupus so far. So it all kind of happened during my second year of university, and so I was lucky enough to actually go and study abroad in Malaysia during my second year. Just before leaving to go, I did catch on to a few things that were out the ordinary, I did get quite a lot of hair loss, and also I had this really exhausted feeling quite a lot, during and after work. But a few years before that I was told I was anemic, so I just kind of got on with it. I think you accept things when you don't really know anything big is wrong with you, and you just, get on with it. Now, in Malaysia, my first few months of being there, I continued to experience the hair loss, but I never took it seriously until the end of that year. And I also experienced extreme fatigue, but again, I only took it more seriously towards the end of that year when it got worse. And now, so yeah, that was probably the best year to date of my life. Obviously, whilst out there, I wasn't really eating my best. I was drinking a lot. Towards the last few months I started smoking, which was bad, and I was in the sun a lot, travelling, so lying on beaches, you're basically living the life, a lot of sun exposure, and overall just not really looking after my health and myself. So yeah, towards the last few months there, I started taking this fatigued feeling a lot more seriously, and the hair loss, and because it was just continuing to get worse, and I went to visit the doctor on campus, and that's why I had a few blood tests and everything. So I was just told I was anemic again, and told to buy some iron tablets, and kind of that was done with, but just inside I kind of knew something was wrong, and you know, I just kind of thought I'd go home in a month, I'll just wait it out and, you know, go see the doctor at home. But I knew something inside, something was telling me something isn't right, because just this feeling, I was getting up at ridiculous times in the day, and you know, it was just so hard for my body to recover from anything. So the last island I visited in Malaysia before returning home was an island called Perhentian Island, and whilst there I was in the sun a lot. It was such a beautiful island, so you know, we're constantly in the water or on the beach, and when I was there I actually developed a lump on my chest. You can't see it, I don't know if you can see a faint mark on my chest, kind of there where my finger is, but yeah, so this lump just continued to grow and grow, and this was a week away from when I was going home. So anyway, I returned home, you know, experienced the culture shock of being home and everything, trying to figure out my life, look for a job for that summer and everything, and that's when things started to escalate. So yeah, my family and myself were getting quite concerned, obviously, because I was just literally so tired all the time, and this lump was getting bigger. So visited the doctor there, did a few blood tests, and soon after the doctor contacted me quite concerned, because my white blood cell count was unusually low, and so you know, it took another 3 weeks to a month, and I was just in and out of the GP having blood tests, trying to get to the root of like what was causing this. And that's when this lump just developed into something crazy, and I experienced yeah, so I had kind of a lump on my forehead, across my nose, a thick red rash, and it was in my eye, in my nose as well as being on top, in my ears, on my lip, in one of my eyebrows, and kind of the hair all fell off the eyebrow, and it was all across my scalp, and under my nails, on my fingers and hands, and all on my feet, and it just turned into something so crazy looking, and it was just so painful as well. And so yeah, finally I got a appointment with the dermatology department at the hospital, as it was visibly clear now to see something wasn't right. And then I went on to have a biopsy, as I was informed that it could either be a tropical infection or most likely lupus. And so a biopsy is when they take a piece of skin and, you know, test it to check what it is, I suppose. But yeah, so soon after then it was confirmed that it was lupus. So the type of lupus that I was told I had was Discoid Lupus, which is that affects the skin. So I was given an anti-malarial drug to kind of, you know, calm this rash down, and that was called hydroxychloroquine, which is commonly used to treat lupus, the lupus rash. And I was told actually abroad that the sun must have triggered my lupus, and I needed to start taking precautions as I was photosensitive. And in fact, too much sun exposure, you know, direct sunlight can trigger lupus. And it also drains me quite a lot when I am in the sun. Like, you know, vitamin D, obviously, you get from the sun is good for you, and it's also really good for people with lupus. But, you know, about 15 minutes a day is kind of enough, I've been told. So, yeah, too much sun is bad, basically. And the drug did help my rash go down a lot. And as you can see, it's hard to tell that I ever even had any rash, as even my scars have disappeared quite a lot. It's been like 2 years now since I had it. And I still take precautions to avoid the sun, and I, like, you know, wearing sun cream every day, covering up. Now I look so naked, but, you know, covering up. I'm not in this bright in the sun right now, but yeah, just things like that. And I've not really been on holiday since getting that rash, only on city breaks, so like to Barcelona or Denmark. And when it has been sunny, I haven't got the rash. I've got like a little bump here and there that has gone down, but my face gets so burnt, and like, as in, feels so burnt instantly when I am in the sun for like just a little while. So you know, I do have to kind of avoid these things. After reading into lupus, as I'd never heard of it before, I realised how serious it could get. And so whilst taking this drug, I actually started developing the internal symptoms of lupus called SLE, systemic lupus erythematosus. And this is where everything really started to go downhill. So I was experiencing things like the extreme fatigue, to literally the point where I was bedbound, and I couldn't get up like, you know, I had extreme hair loss, so I developed quite a few bald patches. And this was also due to my rash being on my scalp, and also alopecia that I had developed. The joint pains went from mild to severe arthritis. I struggled to walk and stand up, and we thought I had gum disease at one point as well, because my bridge fell out and my gums were bleeding, so I had this bridge put in, and my teeth weren't strong enough due to my gums, you know, being so weak. And then I had horrible insomnia on top of all of that. The worst headaches, memory loss here and there, and obviously your mood is not going to be, you know, great whilst experiencing all of this. So I was very irritable and just not the happiest person. And so when my arthritis got really bad, like, I was unable to move, and I was in so much pain that we visited the GP, who, you know, kind of agreed that it's probably SLE that I had developed, and he contacted the rheumatology department to get an appointment, but I had to literally wait a month or two to get that appointment. So meanwhile, my symptoms continued to just escalate until literally every part of my body had been affected. There were things like I couldn't look, like I had to wear sunglasses constantly because my eyes were so you know, light sensitive as well. I really just couldn't stand looking at any bit of light, even the TV or anything, even my phone. And yeah, my nails had completely changed. I lost my appetite, and then one of the worst symptoms which developed, and this is when things got really serious, is I started hallucinating. So during the summer, my boyfriend had actually informed me, he had done a lot of research into it and informed me that I needed to change my diet in order, you know, for my symptoms to kind of go down. So follow an anti-inflammatory diet. And this was all new to me, and I did listen. Obviously it was hard, but since being diagnosed, my diet is the one thing that I have taken so seriously, and I encourage anyone who has recently been diagnosed, thinks they have, you know, an autoimmune disease or does have an autoimmune disease, to change their diet, because it is just one of the main things, one of the most essential things to combating your lupus, basically. So from the get-go, I have been lucky enough to have, you know, people around me, in this case my boyfriend, to inform me about the dietary changes that I need to take and ways of helping myself. And as time has progressed, I have become so much stricter with my diet, and, you know, figuring out what my triggers are for my lupus, but I'll talk about that all in a lot more detail later. And he also told me about borax, apple cider vinegar, baking soda remedies and iodine remedies, which I did follow for a few weeks when I first got diagnosed, just before I went hospital. And it helped with my arthritis so much. I remember I was able to, like, walk to town and stuff like that, and I hadn't done that in so long, but then everything just got worse and I stopped taking it, and yeah, I'll tell you about that more now. So anyway, my mum had been trying to contact people with lupus that she had come across online, as we were just trying to get as much information about this as we could, as it was all new to all of us. And that's where she found out about the London Lupus Hospital, as remember, I still hadn't actually been diagnosed with SLE. I was just suffering, waiting for an appointment with a rheumatologist. So we were lucky enough to get an appointment in London, and long story short, that's where I was informed that I had severe SLE. My brain was probably inflamed, as well as my lungs. Obviously this was a lot to take in, and this is when my lupus literally turned for the worst. So I was waiting and waiting for this appointment to come around at home. There was about a 2 more weeks I had to wait, and it was just too much to handle, so I had to actually go to the emergency department at the hospital. And here we faced a 4-hour wait just to literally be given morphine and codeine to help with the sleep, but not with the pain. And then, so now there was about 4 or 5 days left until my appointment. You know, Mum's constantly ringing, trying to quicken things up, but we just had to literally wait it out. So when on the 22nd of September, I finally had my appointment, so quite a few months after I'd been suffering. And first thing, when my doctor saw me, he admitted me to hospital, as he was really concerned about my lupus, really worried, and straight away, you know, took me to have an MRI scan and a lumbar puncture. It's kind of like an epidural, and it's done, you know, a big needle takes fluid from your spine because it's connected to your brain fluid, so it checks if anything else is going on there, as we were concerned that my brain would be inflamed or is inflamed. So my MRI scan actually showed that I had brain shrinkage at the front of my brain. So my brain was smaller than an average person my age, basically. And also they found an old blood clot, but that hadn't ever given me any problems, so it was just kind of there. But I was basically informed that I was really, really sick and my lupus was very severe, and in order to prevent it from escalating any further, I was going to be given hard medication from Monday, so it was like Thursday or Friday then, and I'd have to go on a drip every 2 weeks for 6 sessions. I was told the name of this medication, which was cyclophosphamide, and the side effects, which were hair loss, infertility, sickness, nausea, and so on. So, number one, my experience staying in hospital those few days was the worst. Like, it was horrible. I was put in the dementia department, which wasn't very pleasant, over the weekend, and by the time I got to Monday, I was just, going out my mind. I was just felt crazy. I had been hallucinating all weekend. I had been given steroids for that time, which had helped a lot with my pain. I was able to move and walk and stuff again, but I just hadn't slept, and when you don't sleep, your lupus is just so much worse. So I was not feeling very good by the time it got to that Monday to take the medication. So now it's Monday, and the guy who's setting up the drip for me to do informed me that it's chemotherapy. And I kind of had an idea it would be chemo, but I hadn't been told once. So me and my mum and family were so shocked that it was chemo I was having. And this was basically everything that my boyfriend had warned me about would end up happening if I didn't act fast in the summer. So yeah, he wasn't very happy because it's so rubbish for your body. It's not the best thing at all. It's the worst thing ever to be putting in your body. But now I'm going to quicken the story up a bit. I completed 6 sessions of chemo, deferred my final year of uni. I was on a very high dosage of prednisolone, the horrible prednisolone steroid, and a bunch of other medications for various things. So there were things like some tablets to help thin my blood, to avoid blood clots occurring again, and also some antibiotics to stop me from catching any infections or anything, as when you're on chemo it's essentially killing your immune system to calm it down. And so I was told that after the chemo I would be put on an immunosuppressant drug called Azathioprine to help keep my lupus in remission. So what this drug does is it also suppresses your immune system to stop it attacking itself, but it also makes your body very weak, and basically you can easily get very sick. So it's like there's never any winning with this. So also the whole period of having chemo was just really, really, really difficult. At first I handled it quite well. I think I was quite jokey, just that was my way of dealing with it. But eventually everything took its toll, and I just felt like I wasn't even me anymore. Like, not only my appearance had changed, but my personality had changed, my mood, and I remember just looking in the mirror at one point and thinking, wow, this has taken literally everything away from me, and it was just so emotionally draining, and I developed really bad anxiety throughout this whole time. It's lasted quite a while, and also you are depressed. You feel so depressed because your life just flips, and it's hard to stay positive all the time. I believe that I've stayed so positive over this whole period. I always knew this isn't how I'm going to be forever, no matter what anyone says, but it is difficult. I actually made the decision to return to uni and complete the first semester of my final year around 2 months after I'd finished the chemo. So this is quite soon after, and it was really, really difficult being back in that type of environment. And I won't go into too much detail about that now, but I managed to complete that semester. It wasn't all smooth, but I did it, so that's what counts. And yeah, so anyway, also from the moment that I had chemo, I had dramatically changed my diet and looked into healing through what I was eating. I actually have set up an Instagram account. I set it up whilst I was ill to kind of document my journey. So there's kind of, a lot more in-depth posts there where you can kind of see my whole journey, and I've written very truthfully. So I thought it'd be useful for not only me but for others too going through lupus, and the page is called Lupus Love if anyone would like to check that out. But back to the story. I followed a really strict anti-inflammatory diet. You know, I did have slip-ups here and there, but I cut things out like gluten, dairy, red meat, fats, processed and artificial foods, sugar, alcohol and so on. And I truly believe that my diet has been such a huge thing that has helped my symptoms stay in remission, as I have not experienced the arthritis to that extent since the first time I had it basically, and it's only like due to external circumstances, like when it gets really cold or when it snows, my fingers, ankles and toes literally go really painful, but I can't really control them kind of things. But yeah, I want to talk more in depth about my diet, like I said, another time, and my diet and lifestyle changes that have helped such a huge amount. So I was on this Azathioprine for around a year, and long story short, over the course of that year, it got to the point where I was experiencing all of the side effects that came along with this medication. I was getting a new infection or virus each week, and it was just driving me nuts. It was just too much to handle. On top of, I know I could have just taken more time off uni, but I just wanted to get this out the way. So on top of commuting back and forth to uni, the stress of trying to complete that and just get on with things, and then all the side effects from this medication. So to just tell you how weak my body was, I went Barcelona this summer last year in 2017, and whilst I was there, I must have eaten something not very good, and I actually got food poisoning, Campylobacter, which only the symptoms started to show when I got home, because it takes a while for it to kick in. It can live in your body for like a week before symptoms start to show, and normally this lasts around a week or two. I had it for just over a month, so it takes my body a lot longer to recover from anything, and that had literally put me off chicken. I ate chicken once whilst I was out there. I haven't eaten it again since, because I just am too scared of this ever happening again. But and often when you do get these kind of infections and viruses, because it makes your body so weak, it triggers a flare-up, a lupus flare-up. Now a flare-up is when your lupus becomes active again and your symptoms basically come alive again. And some things like your food and what you're eating can trigger it, but it's also can just sometimes just show up by itself without anything triggering it. But obviously when you're ill and your immune system's so weak, on top of that, things can trigger it, and the stress of it and everything, and then you have to get in contact with your doctor. They decide what the next step to kind of go forward is, and often I've been told to just take it easy and rest, and I've been given steroids here and there, but I've never really taken them when I've had a flare-up, because I know just making some slight alterations to my diet and lifestyle can help my flare-up go down. So one of my biggest triggers have been eating. Obviously when I get ill, these kind of things, and also stress. I get stressed very easily, so that's been my worst thing. And ultimately, the aim is to keep your lupus in remission. During my final semester of university, so that was from September 2017 till January 2018. Well, around October time, November time, I got a call from my GP. He was worried because from my most recent blood test, my white blood cell count had dropped dramatically again. With lupus, your white blood cell count is going to be low, normally, but this had dropped dramatically, and I was told to just stop taking my medication altogether for a while, and then restart it again later. And so yeah, it was causing me a lot of problems now, and people were beginning to notice. And then during the Christmas holidays 2017, that's when things really went bad. I caught a bugger virus that had been going around, and I was informed then that I needed to go to A&E because it might be meningitis or sepsis, because with lupus you have to take all these things that normally with someone would just be a bugger virus very seriously, as it can develop into something that's not serious. You know what I mean. But so anyway, long story short, it was just a bug, luckily, really bad bug that ruined my Christmas and New Year's. But in January 2018, at the beginning, the first week of that month, I had a rheumatologist appointment, and that's when I made the decision to stop taking my medication due to all of the nasty side effects I had been experiencing, and it's when I truly kind of took control of the situation. So yeah, at this point I was still on the anti-malarial for the skin rash, hydroxychloroquine, but that's it. And so yeah, for the first, but no, I did stop taking that. In fact, yeah, I stopped taking that after about a month, just to see, I suppose, because, you know, I was testing how I was without any medication and relying only on my diet and, you know, everything I was doing like that. So for the first few months, I honestly felt great. I experienced fatigue here and there, but, you know, I know when I need to rest and not. And then it was around 3 months later that I started experiencing the fatigue on another, sorry, on another level, to the point where for like a week I was just in bed. I couldn't get up. I was just so tired I could barely even pick up a fork to eat, and I was just exhausted. I don't know why, it just happens, you know. And then I started hallucinating here and there as well, so this was really worrying because it was due to my brain being inflamed again. So soon after, I had my annual rheumatology appointment, and that's when my doctor just really suggested, you know, I knew this would kind of happen, I think you should go on the immunosuppressant that we had suggested in January. It was another immunosuppressant called mycophenolate, and along with some steroids, and I had just refused since January to go on it. So don't get me wrong, like, my rheumatologist has been so amazing throughout my whole, you know, journey with lupus, and he's always listened to me and let me kind of take control. So when I said no, I don't want to, he accepted my decision because he knew how much I'd kind of suffered with the medication and all the side effects. So you know, and of course it is really quite scary going against your doctor's word as well. So during this appointment, I was just really frustrated with what to do, because I kind of broke down. I said, I've been doing so much, and, you know, I know doctors don't really believe in diet and like other remedies and stuff, because he did often knock things down that I told him I'd been trying, kind of saying, you know, it's the placebo effect, you think it's curing you or helping you, but it's not. And so yeah, like, I kind of was just thinking and telling him, you know, I'm so young, I just want to get on with my life and do everything that I thought I would do and plan for myself. And I also asked at this point, what are other people my age doing, you know, that are his patients, you know, are they working, are they not? Because at this point I had finished uni a few months, I completed my degree, and he kind of told me, you know, some are working and some aren't, but the ones who are working are finding it really hard. And obviously this kind of knocks you down, because I've never once thought in my head, I'm not going to work for the rest of my life, this is going to take over my life, blah blah blah. I still have all of my dreams and, you know, things I want to do and where I want to be and where I want to live, you know, that's still alive in my head. I know I will get there, but it did, yeah, it knocked me down, and I was just at a point where I was like hitting my head against a brick wall. I just didn't know what to do. So at this point, this was in April, around about April the 19th, no, April the 13th, 2018, so not long ago, and I agreed to take the steroids at very low dosage, around 15 milligrams, and then, you know, you have to lower these down, you can't just stop them. If I did, I'll tell you that in a minute. But and I agreed to take the immunosuppressant. I wasn't going to take it, I just kind of agreed to it at that point to shut everyone up, because basically the things with mycophenolate is it causes like things like birth defects. You can't get pregnant whilst on it. I wasn't planning to or anything, but you have to take a bunch of, you know, you have to take birth control, and you have to take precautions, and it's just all the side effects that go along with it. I'm not explaining it properly right now, but it just, you know, it's very off-putting hearing all of these things. And so I agreed to take it, but I knew I wasn't going to take it. I just wanted to kind of keep everyone around me calm and at ease, because at this point even my friends and family were kind of suggesting, why don't you just go on the medication if it's going to make you better? But in my head I knew it was going to make me sick all over again, and I can't deal with that. My body is stronger, it feels stronger whilst not on medication. And For the first few days I did take the steroids because I did feel like I needed that just boost of energy. And my fear with steroids is just my body changing and then the hunger and all these kind of feelings that come with it. But I did take it for a few days, but I actually started experiencing, I don't know if it was due to the steroids or not, but when I did stop them I stopped them after 4 days. I know you're not meant to completely stop them, but I did, because I was getting this really horrible feeling in my legs and ankles where I don't want to say it, but I felt crippled almost, and they were just numb, and it was like hard to move them and stuff. And then the extreme hunger started, and I feel like my body did change so suddenly as well. So yeah, so I did stop them, but with the medication I didn't touch it. My intuition was telling me I don't need to take it. Something will come, like, I just knew that it wasn't the way to go. And I mean, my body wasn't aching apart from the legs with the steroids, but it wasn't arthritis. It was like a weird pain, like almost losing feeling in them. But that is scary in itself. But it was the fatigue that was my worst symptom, honestly. I can't explain how horrible. I know, you know, if you say I'm tired, someone just, oh yeah, go nap. But it's not like that. It's like, you can sleep. Sleep obviously does help, but it doesn't take away the fatigued feeling. So it is just the worst feeling. So I was thinking, you know, I'm not aching anywhere. My body isn't inflamed. I'm just really exhausted. It's the fatigue. And with the fatigue, it's actually the hardest symptom with lupus to get rid of, I've been told. So the medication wouldn't actually be helping that. It would be helping the other symptoms that I don't have right now. Fair enough, my brain, but my headaches were going. The hallucinations had stopped. Maybe it was due to the steroids, they helped, I don't know. But I just thought, no, I don't need to take this. And then, like just the sign I had been waiting for, I got a message from my friend a few days later. And so my friend, she had messaged me like, hey Shayna, I know this sounds so weird. Whereas I don't think these things sound weird. These kind of things excite me because my boyfriend and my dad have done so much research into these things, and myself, I'm always looking for like alternative remedies to try. But my friend had messaged me like, Shayna, this sounds really weird, but my dad knows this guy who's a doctor, and he has this thing called hydrogen water, and it's meant to help with energy and lupus and, you know, things like that. So yeah, my friend asked me if I wanted to meet with this doctor, and I agreed. Obviously I was so excited. Well, basically now, what I've been taking for about a month now since seeing him is hydrogen water. He introduced the whole thing to me, and what it does is it increases the amount of oxygen that's in your body and that your cells are receiving. And essentially, it said that disease can't thrive in an oxygenated environment. So I've been taking this hydrogen water for around a month now. I want to do another more in-depth video on this and include links, and he's written this paper that is just so amazing. It's basically everything I've been doing the past 2 years that my boyfriend's told me, all in one paper and explained really well. So all these alternative remedies, and it's just so amazing. And I feel like it's so worth looking at if you have lupus or another autoimmune disease, or you know someone or live with someone with lupus. It's always worth trying these alternative methods, especially if you've had such a hard time with medication like I have, and I know so many people out there have already, from reading, you know, different things and posts and watching these videos and stuff. But yeah, so the hydrogen water, what it has done is it has given me the most amazing feeling of energy that I haven't had in years. Honestly, I haven't felt like this in years. Now, I do feel my fatigued feeling here and there, but you know, it's nowhere near as bad as it was before. Like, just everyone's noticed how amazing I've been feeling and I felt. And like I said, I will do a more in-depth video about this, but I think it's so worth researching into and taking a look at for yourself as well, because I can't really, you know, tell people what to do. I'm not a doctor. I don't want to advise anyone, but I do just want to kind of make people push themselves to find these alternative remedies, because there is stuff out there where we can really help ourselves. It's just about how you know, take control of your situation. And I know I've been so lucky to have, like, especially my boyfriend, he has honestly been like the most amazing person throughout all of this, constantly giving me these different, you know, alternative things to try and look into. And basically, I just wanted to make this video to get my story out there if people can relate. But I don't want to only just, you know, dwell on the past and tell my story. I hate doing that. I actually want to move forward, and I want to possibly help someone with these alternative remedies and you know, methods of trying to help figure your lupus out and, you know, get to the root cause of it, as I know so many people out there are struggling with lupus and, you know, similar autoimmune diseases, and especially being young. I know no matter what age, you know, I'm lucky enough to not have a family to look after and, you know, kids to feed and stuff like that, but it is hard being young and having this autoimmune disease, and being any age, yeah, for that matter. So with the hydrogen water, I don't want to go into too much detail in it today. I want to properly explain it and, you know, say all the right things, but it's basically meant to really help people with arthritis and joint pains and SLE. Now, as I haven't had joint pains for quite a while, I can't say in that aspect whether it's helped or not, but this doctor has told me that, you know, other patients have tried it with joint problems, arthritis, lupus, SLE, and it has helped them dramatically. Whereas my biggest symptom and biggest, just most annoying thing that, you know, would come in the way of everyday life is the fatigue, and it has helped so much with that. Whether it continues to work or not, I'm yet to find out. You know, I can't guarantee anything, he can't guarantee anything, but I'm excited to see, and, you know, just feeling like this, you appreciate it so much, because this feeling almost becomes addictive, because you've forgotten how it feels to feel like, just have energy, just feel like this. But yeah, like I said, I will be putting some more videos, you know, speaking more in depth about these things out. And just to kind of round things up, I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it wasn't the most exciting to listen to, obviously. I just wanted to kind of put my story out there, so for future reference I don't need to repeat myself all over again. Like, you know, I and others have this to, you know, kind of look back at. And also, like, you know, it's hard to remember every single thing, because I try and let go of things as well. You know, I don't want to hold on to the horrible feelings and experiences I had to deal with and what I felt. But on my Lupus Love page on Instagram, kind of I've you know, my posts have been very truthful throughout this journey, and what I've been feeling at the time, you know, what's happened, protocols I carried out, you know, my protocols that I went to when I had a flare up and so on like that. So I think it's really worth looking at if you're interested in figuring out more of that stuff, and you know, just seeing what I did. And it's always worth the try. Everyone's different, and everyone's lupus is so different. It's just about finding what works for you. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you have lupus or know anyone having lupus, I'd love to speak some more with you. But yeah, I look forward to creating some more videos. So yeah, I'll see you next time.